would you fight for your country? Honestly, no, I won't lie. This might be a controversial opinions, but I'm not fighting for people that are locked up in bunkers and making billions off of it. I'm sorry, bro. I'm just fleeing, 100%.
What does it mean to love your country? Is it waving a flag? Is it singing the national anthem before a sporting match?
Back in the day it was different, right? People were a community. The kings fought for us. They were the first ones on the line of fire, and now, what do? They just make up money. It's contracts and everything. It's not worth it.
I am fighting for my country. I will love to kill my enemies.
You were born, and the moment you arrived, someone handed you a story. You didn't choose it, you didn't question it, you just became it. Think about the first word someone used to describe you. Not your name, your category. Were you born into a caste, a faith, a language? A side of a river that someone, somewhere decided was a border? These are not things you discovered, they are things you inherited. And inheritance is powerful, because it feels like truth. When did someone first tell you to be proud of where you were born? Were you 5? 6? Did you ask why? Of course not. No one does. That's the point. This is not education. This is architecture. Architecture of the self. And every architect has a blueprint. Here's what no one wants to say out loud. That feeling, it's real. The question is, where did it come from? Pride is not born. Pride is manufactured, and the factory has been running for centuries. Think about what makes you feel patriotic. A song? A uniform? A moment of collective grief? Now ask yourself, if you had been born one border over, would you feel the same intensity for the other side? Most people don't ask that question, because the answer is almost certainly yes, and that answer is terrifying. Because if loyalty is geography, is it loyalty at all? Or is it something else? Something older? Something that was placed inside you before you were old enough to consent? Psychologists have a name for it: in-group bias. The brain's preference for people who look like you, sound like you, believe what you believe. It kept our ancestors alive. It also kept wars running. Let's go deeper, because nation is not the first layer. It's not even the second. In some parts of the world, people will die for their caste before they die for their country. In others, religion swallows the nation whole. Language draws borders that maps don't show. The same person can be a lower caste in their village, a religious minority in their state, a linguistic outsider in their capital, and a proud citizen the moment a foreign team scores against their national side. Which version of them is real? All of them, and none of them. We talk about nationalism as if it's one thing, but it's a stack, an entire architecture of belonging, built on top of older architectures, built on top of older ones still. And somewhere underneath all of it, there's a person who was never asked which layer they wanted to carry. Now let's look at what happens when someone weaponizes that stack. 1947. A line drawn across a subcontinent, not by the people who lived there, by a British lawyer who had never set foot in the region before and left immediately after. 14 million people moved, 1 million died. And they died not because of ancient hatred, but because a story had been told long enough that it became more real than the neighbor they had known their entire lives. 1914, a single assassination, and a web of national loyalties pulled an entire generation into trenches. They called it the war to end all wars. They were wrong, because they didn't fix the feeling, they only paused it. Every name on every memorial wall was someone who believed, truly, deeply believed, that their side was right. So did the names on the other wall. Here is the oldest political trick in human history. Find a people, give them an enemy, watch them forget to look up. While two nations argue over a strip of contested land, who is signing contracts? While two religions fight in the streets, who is raising prices? While citizens debate which language is truly national, who is writing the laws that affect all of them equally? Nationalism, in the hands of the powerful, is not love of country. It is management of population. It is the art of making people feel dangerous enough to be controlled and proud enough not to notice. Ask yourself, when your leader speaks of national greatness, what specific problem does it solve for you today? When the anthem plays, whose bank account gets larger and whose gets smaller? These are not cynical questions. They are the questions that power has always feared most. Here is where it becomes personal. What do you do when the country you love does something you cannot defend? What do you do when the history you were taught turns out to be incomplete? Do you defend the story because the story is you? Or do you follow the truth, even when the truth makes you feel like a traitor? This is not a question about politics. It is a question about identity. Because your identity and your nation have been fused so carefully, so early, that criticizing one feels like destroying the other. That discomfort you're feeling right now? That's not weakness, that's consciousness. That's the first moment you've looked at the frame, instead of just the painting inside it. And once you see the frame, you can never unsee it.
You are not your passport. You are not your anthem or your grandfather fought, or the land your great-grandmother was told to die for.
But you are also not nothing. You love something. You belong somewhere. The question isn't whether identity matters. Of course it does. The question is, who wrote it and why? We will never know a world without borders. But maybe the most radical thing a person can do is simply ask where theirs came from. Every flag was designed by someone. No one asks by whom or for what.